The American Revolution.
It all started with the Enlightenment era from 1700 to 1800. This is the time where the colonists discovered that all humans have rights and deserve to self-govern if the government takes away their rights. During this era, many colonists started to rebel against Britain's harsh rules and restriction on the colonies. One of the first major rebellions was the Boston Massacre. In this event, British soldiers fired into an angry group of colonists, killing 5 people. The news about this rebellion quickly spread through the colonies, and this is when the colonies really started to unite. The last rebellion before the fighting really started was the Boston Tea Party. One of the most taxed items, tea, was dumped into the harbor by Boston rebels. The British shut down the Boston harbor and put more soldiers in America. It was the Battle of Lexington. The colonist soldiers, the Minutemen, against General Gage and his soldiers who were trying to capture Hancock and Adam and seize and destroy munitions the colonists have. The British blew past the Americans in a measly 15 minutes in Lexington and then marched on to Concord and found an empty arsenal. As they began to march back to Boston, they soon ran into 3,000 to 4,000 Minutemen who opened fire on them. The Americans won their first battle, but many more were on the way. The battle was the Battle of Bunker Hill. General Gage sent British troops to attack stationary American soldiers on Breed's Hill near Bunker's Hill. The Americans waited until the last minute, then fired shots at the marching British army. The British survivors kept attacking and eventually won because of the Americans' lack of ammo. Some Americans chose to be free and support the establishment of a new government. Others, called Loyalists, promoted British rule. Now the colonies had to fight a civil war as well as a war for independence against the strongest empire on earth. In the summer of 1776, Britain sent 32,000 soldiers to New York. Washington rallied up 23,000 men to defend New York. The Americans were poorly equipped and heavily outnumbered. The British had won the battle and America suffered heavy losses. Washington and his men were pushed back all the way across Delaware. Only 8,000 men remained under his command. Washington risked everything on the Christmas of 1776. He led 2,400 soldiers across the Delaware to get to Trenton, New Jersey. The Americans surprised the opposing soldiers and won. They next defeated 1,200 redcoats at Princeton. General Burgoyne met up with General Howe to help isolate New England from the rest of the colonies. Burgoyne and 8,000 soldiers. Burgoyne lost against General Gates and the Americans at Saratoga. The loss for Britain completely changed their war strategy. Now Britain stayed close to the coast near their big gun and supply bases. In 1776, France agreed not to make peace with Britain until Britain recognized American independence. France supplied weapons and aid. Patriot bands quickly took back North Carolina by harassing the British and forcing them to retreat to South Carolina. Eventually, the Patriots made Britain surrender and they took the Carolinas. In 1780, American and French troops surrounded British troops in Yorktown and eventually made them surrender. The Americans had finally won the revolution and officially earned their independence with the Treaty of Paris. The Americans had a democratic government to protect the rights of all citizens.